All right, good evening. Thank you for attending this evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Haverford Township Planning Commission. Today is Thursday, February 12th, 2026. The time is 7:01. May we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Ms. Jillison, will you call roll, please?
Yep. All right. Ms. Dobbs?
Here.
Mr. Capuzzi?
Here.
Mr. Welsh?
Here.
Ms. DeTrolio?
Here.
Mr. Cortese?
Here.
Mr. Terranova? Here. Ms. Anopa?
Here. Thank you. All right, we're going to dive right into our agenda. The first that we have up tonight is a lot line change at 303 and 307. Is it Bewley Road?
Yes.
Are you here on behalf of the applicant?
Yeah, I'm Rich Schmeiss.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I don't, to be honest with you, the guy who was it View, the guy, the pro, is, he told me he was going to be here, the guy who actually owns the property, and I don't know, I just texted him, like, you're not coming? Sorry, I literally just got back today from skiing in Idaho for a week, so.
You good?
Yeah.
We'll put the plan up.
Yeah.
Take it from there.
Okay.
So I mean, I see some new people here. This is probably like the third time I've been here for this. So, I mean, if you don't know what's going on, I own 303 Bewley, been there for about 10 years. The lot next to me is a double wide lot. The gentleman, the woman who owned the house was a elderly woman who's been there for 30 years, sold it, moved to Florida. Gentleman bought the house, he was renovating the house, and then I found out he wanted to split the property to put another house in between the property. And so I became aware of this and the neighbors and everything like this, and I got into agreement to buy the property to buy a sublot of property with him. And that area is right here. And so, so we've, this is I think our third time here. So we've had the engineers, go and do everything here. And, it's seems like everything's been good. That's about it. I don't know.
Right.
I'm just a homeowner.
Do you want a quick minute to gather your thoughts? But we've just introduced the plan.
Yes, good evening. I'm sorry I'm late. I hit a little traffic. My name is Tyler Vu. I am the co-applicant of tonight's meeting with Richard.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so this is a little bit different than what we've seen before. So if I can summarize, then we have an application before us for a lot line change. So this does not include the construction of a new house as we had previously seen. So this would convey approximately 11,000 square feet from 307 Bewley to 303 Bewley. And I understand that you went before the zoning hearing board in November and received 3 variances, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the application then is, again, going to be just a lot conveyance. The only change here is that we have the conversion of an existing concrete walk at 307 Bewley into a driveway. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there being no land development here, we're just looking at the lot line change. Per the zoning hearing board decision in November, you'll note that the lot line creates nonconformance in regards to setbacks on 307 Bewley, which did receive zoning variance approval. So those features then on that lot are permitted per the variance approval to encroach within the required side yard setback. What this does is it also then conveys the driveway and the detached garage now to 303 Bewley. I have a couple comments, but I'm going to open it up to my planning commission members first to see if anybody has any questions or additional comments that they want to make. So Vic, we're going to start with you.
No, I don't have any additional questions or comments.
No comments.
Yeah, Chuck Faulkner, are you satisfied with a 20-foot wide easement? Or would the township be satisfied with a 20-foot wide easement?
20 foot's typical. Certainly, it's a little unusual, these circumstances here with the pool and the patio and everything. I don't think the township would object, I should say, to a larger easement at all. We could go to 25 feet maybe, or even possibly 30 feet, just given the circumstances, but leave it up to the planning commission if they want to entertain that.
And Angela, you're referring, that's a storm sewer drainage easement that we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay. So just so the applicant is aware, there is a storm sewer, so there's an existing storm sewer pipe that goes underneath near the proposed property line, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I see that it terminates towards the end of the swimming pool. Is there a lawn drain at that location?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Does it continue beyond the point that's indicated on the plan, or does it?
I'm pretty sure because behind there's a narrow piece of property, and then there's an alleyway that between Bewley and Valley Road, so that there's where there's an alleyway in the back where the people in Valley and a couple houses on Bewley, our garages are back there, and I've seen where that would be. What do you call it? Like, I've seen the lines. I've seen wastewater in the alleyway there where that would be. So I'm assuming it goes there.
I do want to clarify, not wastewater, you mean storm sewer?
Stormwater.
Okay.
Stormwater. Yes. Sorry, stormwater.
Okay. All right. So my recommendation then for that is that the storm sewer, if it does continue beyond the point indicated on the plans, that should be marked on the plans.
Okay.
Because as it stands, it looks like that's either the terminus or the origin of that storm sewer conveyance pipe. But if it does continue further back into the property, that should be noted on the plans.
I don't know. We'll have to ask them.
Because the easement is shown to terminate.
Actually,
I'm sorry,
they did a survey, and you know what I'm thinking?
I'm looking at the side yard. There's the easement lines. I'm sorry, yeah, the easement lines do go all the way through, but the storm sewer pipe itself is shown as ending. So the easement continues to the back of the property, which is fine, but I would just suggest that storm sewer pipe actually be shown kind of where it continues.
I'm not 100%. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, is what they did. I would have to ask them.
Sure.
Because I'm thinking about it now. There's one that's down the way a little bit on the alleyway, so I don't know if that's a beginning that goes down to the valley or not. Because I'm thinking about where it is, and there isn't a storm drain right there. It's down the way a little bit by Pat Boyle's house at the end of the alleyway, which is 2 doors down.
Okay. I would then just recommend that you reach out to your engineer to verify
Confirm on that. Okay.
where that's located. So the storm sewer then would be located, the actual pipe itself would be located on the property being proposed to be conveyed to 303 Bewley.
Okay.
And you said that that's the property that you're taking?
Yes.
Okay. So then the other property, 307, in the event that does need to be excavated for repairs, you do take responsibility for then any damage to the swimming pool. Obviously, I know that you'll try to avoid it, but just to know that drainage or the drainage easement, is there in order to allow for machinery and equipment to come and do any sort of repairs and excavation. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that is a possibility.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's been brought up.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, we've been.
Okay. Shall we continue on, Steve?
Yep, I don't have any comments.
No questions or comments.
No questions. Okay. I will just note one other thing, and that was noted in our engineer review letter, is that we have a requirement in the codes that limits the maximum aggregate width of driveway on a single property to 25 feet. And so the property at 303 Bewley, now that it's taking on the existing single car width driveway that's attached to the rear garage, plus it has an existing kind of 2-car wide driveway, that the total then aggregate width of the driveway on 303 Bewley would need to be reduced to 25 feet, or you would need to seek another variance from the zoning hearing board. So that is not compliant then with the zoning, and that was not addressed, it appears, because at the time the plan went before the zoning hearing board, that middle section,
That's south, not south.
I'm so sorry, I'm not even looking at the letter. My apologies. Okay, you would need to request a variance. I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
It is zoning.
Waiver. No, it is zoning.
It is zoning, I'm sorry. It's number 2 on Panoni's review letter. It's section 182-707A4.
I'm sorry.
You're looking at right of way width. Yeah, it's zoning. So this is in our engineer's review letter dated January 30th, 2026. So this is zoning, chapter 182-707.A4 is the code section where that's required. So that is a zoning requirement. And it's 25 feet maximum. So you would either need to come into compliance with that 25 feet maximum by reducing the existing driveway, one or the other, it doesn't matter. I would suggest probably the 2-car one.
Yeah.
To reduce that. So I don't know what the width is of the single car. It's 28 total. So you need to shave off some of that driveway to come into compliance with that, or you would need a variance from the zoning hearing board. And I suspect you don't want to go back to the zoning hearing board.
I can't get rid of my driveway either.
The driveway in the front of your house, not the new. Yeah,
Correct.
That's 20 feet wide. So if you made it 17 feet wide, you wouldn't have any problems.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have to go and theoretically get a variance for that.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I guess listen, I come from like Chester County. I'm used to having I could fit 6 cars in my driveway. So one of the things that if we have 2 big SUVs, I know if I take 3 feet away, then I'm gonna lose. I can't park side by side. I'm gonna have to go back and forth right there. I mean, which, no offense, I'd rather come in front of the zoning board for a variance again than to try and then also spend the money on that. Because I mean, I have to tear it up and I have to hire someone to do that. I mean, I'll tell you what I'd rather do is I'd rather take 3 feet off the one that's the one I'm buying.
You can do that too.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be using that too much. I mean, my whole thing is before I bought the house, wasn't going there. It was almost flip-flopped where I was a double wide lot and there's a driveway that went to the back, and then Vince Pizzato bought it, put a house on there, and that's why he had to do what he's trying to do here. So I'm kind of almost just getting back to the original, and I understand this. So I mean, if it needs to, I'll take 3 feet off the other one.
Oh,
Yeah, so we can't require you to take width off of one versus the other. But just saying that you would have to either do that or
Yeah.
yes,
get the
I
variance.
have a question.
Yeah.
So the one that he gonna buy the lot that has a long driveway, so when you say take 3 feet off, does mean the whole length from the front, or?
Just in the front yard.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so then.
The first 50 feet.
Okay.
So then you cannot pull in that driveway.
Yeah. I'll put that as, I'll have that done.
Would that work, Chuck?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay,
It's in the front yard, whatever driveway you want to do, but make sure whatever you do, you indicate that on the record plan, please.
Yeah, it would need to be revised on the plans before they get recorded.
That's fine.
Yeah.
yeah, so the requirement is that it would be within the required front yard. So if the front yard is 50 feet, and we confirm that's 50 feet,
50.1.
what's the required front yard?
50.1.
50.1. Oh, is that the aggregate? Is that the median?
Average of
Or
all
the
the lots
average?
within the 300 feet.
Okay.
And
So 50, so you would need to then take off the required width so 3 feet of width then for 50 feet of that driveway, and then it could flare back out.
yes, is that include the apron too?
That's a good question.
Apron's
Is the
not in the
apron would not be included, that's in the right of way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just beyond the back of the sidewalk, back to the front yard setback.
Okay. It's not a problem.
Okay, all right, so just taking a look at the last remaining comments from the engineer's review letter. So we discussed the driveway width. I see here the right-of-way is to be offered for dedication, so that's fine. And then the engineer's comment also addresses the existing storm sewer, so additional details including the pipe size and material. A legal description should be provided for that easement. So Angelo, did you have a recommendation in terms of the width of that easement? It's being shown as a 20-foot.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that the Board of Commissioners consider a 25-foot wide easement.
Okay. So we have a recommendation from our engineering expert on the planning commission as a 25 feet. And then this also addresses a separate easement, a separate agreement in terms of the proximity to the pool, which I know you said you've already discussed. To be reviewed by the township solicitor.
Chuck, one other question. Is there really a need for an extra 2.5 feet of right-of-way?
We've done it before in other areas.
I know.
Practically, probably not in this block, but I'll leave that up to you guys.
Okay.
Is that for the driveway or?
No,
No,
that's
you're offering 2.5 feet of additional property to the township. The right-of-way width of the township roads has to be 50 feet. This street is only 45 feet, so you're giving up 2.5 feet on your side. Theoretically, someone else on the other side of the street would give up 2.5 feet, and then it'd be 50 feet. But from a practical standpoint, I doubt that the township has any plans to widen 100 feet of Bewley Road in the near future, so.
Hey, listen, if they did, that's a small street there. I would appreciate it.
I would recommend maintaining that. If the right-of-way is 50 feet, I would say you're going through the process of the lot line change, you're going through the subdivision plans, so might as well go ahead and offer that full amount of dedication to the township, and then you'll be fully in compliance with current code regulations.
Okay, fine with that.
Okay. Chuck, was there anything else we needed to mention or any other comments that you had about this application?
No, I think you hit everything, Meg.
Okay, thank you. Planning Commission members, did you have any other final comments, questions, or thoughts you wanted to share based on our conversation? Okay, seeing none. Are there any members of the public here who would like to make a comment on this application? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion then for this plan? Do we want to make a motion or do we want to see revised plans before we move forward?
To clarify, what was the 25-foot easement? Is that for the storm sewer? Or
Yeah,
what is
so
that?
the recommended, so Angela is recommending that the drainage easement for the storm sewer be increased from 20 feet to 25 feet. And it's standard that that easement would then be centered
Oh, all right.
on the
Has to
on the
be
storm.
offset.
Are we centering on
If we
the storm
center it,
sewer?
then it'd be into the pool.
It'll be into the pool.
So we have to add 5 feet to the,
Our side, my side.
So it'd be increased then on the 303 Bewley side. So we could do, so it is so the minimum, what is the setback?
Is the storm sewer depth indicated there?
Oh, in terms of how deep the storm sewer pipe is below ground?
Yeah. If you ever have to rip it out and it's not that deep, you might not need as wide of an easement.
So I think that was addressed in Chuck's comment to provide additional information regarding the existing storm sewer, so pipe size and material.
Up at the inlet, it looks like it's about 3.5 feet deep, so it's not 15, 20 feet deep. So
Okay,
the problem is the proximity of the pool.
the pool, yeah, the pool's the issue.
That kind of constrains you, at least for that stretch. Start excavating for these pipes, you need a place to dump your excavated.
But the drainage easement is currently, it appears, is it centered on the pipe?
The pipe is 9 feet inside.
Okay, all right. Okay, so then it would maintain 9 feet then into 307, and then,
It's the other way around. 11 into 9.
You said 9 feet into the pool? 9 feet
Easement
towards the
line
pool?
is 11 feet into, from the storm sewer into 307.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Listen, only question I have is when do I need to do that driveway?
So what we need to see would be then or the plans would need to be revised. So before they can be finalized, they would need to be revised.
Okay.
So the two things then that we're recommending, it sounds like, is going to be a change in the storm sewer drainage easement width,
Okay.
and then the modification to the plan showing the removal of the driveway to comply with the zoning requirement for the 25-foot within the front yard.
Okay.
And those should be the only,
That mean we have to come back
Thanks.
again?
well, that's what we're about to decide.
Okay.
So,
Sorry, I'm not an engineer or anything.
no, that's okay. Okay, so we'd be looking, so you're requesting here for a preliminary final for the lot line change. We have the two conditions and then any other outstanding comments in the engineer's review letter. So is there a motion on the table? Would somebody like to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we recommend preliminary final approval for the subdivision plan of 303 and 307 Bewley Road, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that all the remaining comments contained in the Township Engineer's Review Letter of January 30th, 2026 be addressed to the satisfaction of the Township. Second, that the width of the storm sewer easement be widened by 5 feet onto 303 Bewley Road property. And number three, that the existing 8-foot wide asphalt driveway on 303 Bewley be reduced to 5 feet in width from the back of the sidewalk on Bewley to a point at the building setback line.
There a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any comments, questions? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So, do you understand what we've just recommended?
I mean, I understand we gotta get that fixed, but I don't know, do we have to come back again, or is
No,
it?
so
Okay.
you're done with us.
All right.
So you'll make the updates to the plan as we've recommended.
Okay.
Jamie can help you with details, and then you'll submit the revised plan
Okay.
to the township.
Yeah.
And then Jamie will tell you the next steps for when you're scheduled to go for final adoption by the commissioners.
All right, sounds great. All right, you need me, or are we good?
No, you're good.
All right, thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you
very
both.
much.
Congratulations, it looked like some new people here. Did you
Yeah,
guys
we
get-
have our new members over
Yeah, I
here.
just was like, are you new too, or no?
No, I've been here for a while.
Okay, I just remember there was another guy that used to talk a lot, and he was like, oh.
Oh, thank you.
He
You
was
do
like
have
the
to
head
come
talker.
back.
You know what
You
I'm
do
talking-
have to come back.
I say, hold on.
There was another guy. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right.
You ready? Yeah.
Okay, next up, we have our applicant for 24 South Eagle Road. This is GK Property Holdings for a zoning map amendment request. So, planning commission members who haven't dealt with one of these before, this zoning map amendment request, this is simply to change the zoning of a particular property to a different zoning district. So this is not a land development application, this is not a subdivision application, this is not a change to the actual zoning district itself or any of the requirements of the zoning district. This is just a zoning map amendment. So with that in mind, I will turn it over to the applicant to further explain their application and hear their proposal.
Good evening. My name is Finton McHugh. I'm from the law firm of Petrick and Wellman, D'Amico, Brown, and Petrosa in Media, Pennsylvania. I'm representing GK Property Holdings. With me tonight are Kevin O'Donnell and Greg Giuliano. They are the principals of GK. We also have our project engineer, Dave Damon, here. We were here before you remember, last summer, and you recommended that we request a rezoning of the O1 office portion of the property. So we're here doing that. We have also amended our plan in response to some of your suggestions. In particular, we moved the building forward that you'll see in the exhibit package. The previous building was set back intentionally to conform to the 50-foot front yard setback. But in accordance with the Planning Commission's recommendations and I think kind of the overall streetscape for Eagle Road, we've pulled the building forward. It does create, it gets rid of that horseshoe-shaped driveway that we previously had in our prior plan. And we created a 90-degree driveway that also by recommendation of the Planning Commission, we had it line up with the driveway across the street that goes into, I think, the Starbucks. Moving the building closer to the street, it also creates more of a distance between us and the properties to the rear. The building would now be 125.5 feet from the rear property line. Previously, under the prior plan, it was 35 feet. So there's more area in the back, more of a streetscape feel to the property. The distance to the side yard, I believe, is still the same, but it's consistent with the garden apartments that are next door to us. And just in terms of the overall zoning, I noticed that the comprehensive plan, and I have a copy of the future use map and current land use map from the comp plan if you need it. But it actually shows that this property, that's the O1 portion of the property that we're seeking a rezoning on, it shows that as currently used commercially, which I think is just a mistake because the strip of commercial along Westchester Pike there is basically a straight line, and this is a very small sliver of property. It was probably just assumed that that line continued and that this property was serving the Primo's Hoagies and the dry cleaner that's next to us. So it doesn't change in terms of the comp plan. The current use and the future use are both shown as commercial. Again, I think that was a mistake or an oversight on just this little sliver. Because this has always belonged to, it's basically a part of the yard for the residential use. So we're keeping it residential, and just in terms of the comp plan goals, I was reading it today, and some of the goals were included housing options, so certainly having apartments as additional housing options within the township serves that goal. And it does just seem to provide a suitable, not barrier, but a transition between the commercial uses along Westchester Pike. This is a residential use, but it's next to garden apartments. So this would be a smaller type of garden apartment, comparable somewhat to the garden apartments that are next to us. And then there's C3 commercial across the street. So it's kind of a little bit of a black sheep in the current residential single-family dwelling that's there now. If the board has no questions of me, I'd like to ask Dave Damon some questions. Okay, thanks. And Dave, can you just introduce yourself to the board and explain your professional background?
Dave Damon, I'm a civil engineer, land surveyor with H. Gower Damon Associates. I'm president of the corporation now. I'm like fourth generation Damon that's involved in that business.
Okay, and are you have you prepared the existing features plan and the other plans that we were going to talk about tonight?
Yes.
Okay, and just looking at first I'll pull it up here, the existing features plan. Can you just explain what's currently at the property?
It's two parcels. There's a a smaller parcel that's on the north side, closer to Westchester Pike. It's like 47,000, some 38 square feet, a little over a tenth of an acre. And then the portion south of that has a two-story dwelling, 2.5-story dwelling, and a two-car garage driveway. That's zoned to R8. That's larger. That's almost a half an acre, 21,162 square feet. And it's just north of the Haverford Arm Apartments. It's which has a side yard there, noted as 11.8 feet.
Okay, and then I don't know if I have all of the plans here, but there's a comparison of the zoning. I think Exhibit 2A is that there's an excerpt of the zoning map. I've crudely highlighted the areas, the property. So does that show what's up on the screen? Does that show the property and the split zone nature of it?
Yeah, it shows the property. So it's bounded by, there's the O1 zoning that's to the northeast on Westchester Pike. R8 is to the south. It's the Haverford Arm Apartments parcels. And then there's residential homes along Claremont Boulevard. There are 5. Across the street, C3, it's the Pepperoncini and the L&M Professional Center. Just north of the site, there's the Primo's Hoagies and the Cleaners. There's abuts it to the Westchester Pike side.
All right, and then we're proposing, obviously, to rezone the purple or pink section that's there as, and does this show the current, which I have in the packet as Exhibit A2, the before-after zoning plan? Does that show what it would look like afterwards?
Yeah, it's just changing that one small parcel to R8.
Okay, and I included an exhibit that I don't think I have on this computer here, but it's an Google aerial photo, and that shows the other surrounding properties you just described?
Yes.
Okay, and then the Exhibit A5 is the color zoning plan, which I just pulled up on the board. Can you just explain generally what's being proposed?
Well, it's, as you just said, the building's pulled forward. It's set back 15 feet from Eagle Road. It pulls it back, like 130 some feet from the Claremont Boulevard properties, residential properties that abut it in the rear. Has a single right turn in, right turn out driveway. It provides the 20 parking spaces would required for zoning. It provides a turnaround for trash and delivery trucks.
And does the back of the site, does that have the buffer planting strip that's required?
It has to require, but actually, it's over 50 feet of green space there. So it provides the open space required under the ordinance. So quite a bit of buffering could be done there. Could be a raised berm put there. I know there was concerns with people hearing noises from the Primo's Hoagies and from the adjacent apartments. So I know that that's something that we could provide there to help buffer those properties.
And the driveway, the center line, is that shown on across the street there?
It's lined up with that. The driveway design is really going to be, something that has to be worked out with PennDOT. But that's a conceptual right in, right out driveway there. There's conflicts there's fire hydrants, utility poles that are going to have to be relocated, and we have to come up with a final design of it. That's the concept. And of course, this would provide stormwater management for the site where there's none presently, so that's, one benefit of a new development here.
So we'd go through with a lot consolidation plan as part of the land development process?
Yes.
All right. Exhibit 5E is the site plan that has the zoning table, and it's hard to read here, but do you have a hard copy that you can refer to
Yeah.
walk through the zoning table?
Right, so it's with the consolidated properties and the change to R8 zoning, it still would require, it would still have a non-complying lot area. Required it's 2 acres, it's only 0.59 for 6 acres. Complies with the street frontage of 50 feet with the consolidated lots. The building coverage, it would comply, it's 15.4 versus 20% required. Just over on pervious cover, so when we look at the final design, it's possible we might be able to bring that into compliance. The front yard and side yard are the 2 big dimensional variances that we would have to obtain. And the rear yard, you can see, we maximize that to be 125 feet.
Okay, so we would go through with zoning before we would go through the lot consolidation and land development process?
Yes, if the zoning change is approved, then, next step would be zoning.
And do you have any other comments before we turn it over to the board in terms of how this acts as either transition or just how it generally fits in with the neighborhood?
As far as when your comments about the comprehensive plan, it provides housing in a mixed area where, it has the opportunity of being walkable for the residents of the apartments to go to the commercial areas, and so I think it creates a livelier setting than what is there now.
I have no further questions.
Thank you. Okay. Planning Commission. So I do just want to make a couple quick points before we head into our discussion. So the applicant has provided an overview of a future land development that they would be seeking to submit to us should this the map amendment go into effect. The actual ask tonight, though, is only in regards to the zoning map amendment for the one parcel that's currently zoned O1 office. And that's just that thin parcel then. So these are, please confirm, so there's only 2 parcels currently on this lot. So the one that you're proposing to rezone, and then the other larger parcel that's existing that is not proposed to be changed in terms of zoning.
Yeah, that's R8 presently.
Yes, okay. So we have an R8 existing parcel, and they're just looking to rezone that one parcel. So we're not commenting this evening on the proposed land development plan. We're not commenting on the variances that they would need. We're not commenting on site design or any other, site considerations for the proposed land development plan, because the application before us is just for the zoning map amendment. But understanding that if the zoning map amendment were to go through, this is then the direction the applicant would be seeking to pursue in terms of then future redevelopment of this property. So with that in mind, do we have any comments, questions, concerns? Vic, we'll start with you again.
Just thanks for the clarity on it. I think I must have missed the first one like last summer or fall, so I'm just catching up. But I appreciate all the exhibits, so thank you. On A2A, just so I'm super clear, that red outline, it's just, I'll just point to Kim. It's just this, right? This little sliver here.
You want to put this one back up on the
Yeah.
screen?
Yep. That's it.
Okay. I'm clear. I don't have any comments or other questions in that. I'm
Okay.
fine. Thanks.
Yeah, and if it's helpful, the A2B exhibit, I think to me is the clearest, which identifies the parcel numbers for each of those two parcels, and then you see it going from pink
Yep,
to the brown.
I see it.
I was going to say fawn, but
It's the color of the day. Okay.
taupe,
Banner up there.
tan, ecru. I think ecru is a little light. Okay. Kim?
No comments. I appreciate you guys listening to our feedback, incorporating it, and it's great to see you back here for this request.
Angela?
No, I have no objections to what you're proposing here. Just out of curiosity, when you were in the summer, you were looking at property across the street. Is that still,
Yeah, we're working
Still
on
pursuing that?
preliminary final plan submittal soon, yeah.
okay, but didn't that involve a zoning change also?
Zoning wasn't changed, variances were granted.
Oh, you already went through the, okay.
I have no comments. This is, as you noted, a recommendation from ours from when you first came before us. So I have no additional comments or questions on this. Thank you.
Was the site previously anything else, or was it always just kind of a vegetated parcel?
Single-family home.
No,
Just,
the small sliver one?
it was always kind of zoned together, and owned in single ownership by that single-family home
Okay.
owner.
So if these are combined, does the larger parcel now have access to that alleyway?
That's a good question. I mean, my understanding is anytime you have an alley, something called an alley on a recorded plan, anyone who touches that has the right to use it as an alley. There's some physical constraints there that I don't think we intend to use it as an alley.
So, yeah, and that the smaller parcel was originally part of a subdivision plan that included that alley when it was created, so definitely that has access to it. But, based on, the one homeowner uses the alley coming from Claremont Boulevard, and the part that goes out to Westchester Pike has encroachments over, it's kind of used for parking, so it would be difficult to open that because they're using that as parking. So it's a legally opening, using it, it wouldn't be simple. You'd run into objections from the adjoining property owners.
Okay.
I'll just start off by saying thank you for Exhibit A1A and A12. You made it very clear and easy for, to follow this discussion on rezoning. I have no comments.
Yeah, and thank you for taking into consideration the comprehensive plan and making adjustments. No comments.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anybody from the public who wishes to make a comment on this application? Okay, seeing none. Any other comments or questions from the Planning Commission? And do I have a motion to recommend or not this request for a zoning map amendment?
I would like to recommend for approval the zoning map amendment request at property 24 South Eagle Road.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Vic second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is unanimous. Congratulations.
All right.
We look forward to seeing you at land development.
Yes, all right.
Yeah.
Just looking at what you proposed to, one thing to consider as you continue to refine your design is to take a close look at your parking requirements. There might be a case where the amount of parking required to operate the building is less than required by code, and therefore less impervious surface would need to be added to the property. just a consideration moving forward.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, next up on our agenda, we have 1039 Sproul Road with Sproul Road Development Partners, LLC. They're here before us with the preliminary final subdivision plan application. I will note we have seen this application a couple times in the past. It has come before us for review, has been revised, and so this is the latest iteration. So I welcome you gentlemen back. Please go ahead and introduce yourselves. We do have some new members on the board, and give an overview and of your application, please.
Absolutely, thank you. So good evening. My name is Cameron Wolfson with Riley Riper Holland Collett Greco. We are attorneys for the applicant. With me tonight, to my right, is John Anderson from Cornerstone Consulting. They are the civil engineers for the project. And to his right is Paul Bloomfield and Patrick Gibbons. They are the applicant's representatives. So to give you just some background, sorry about that. To give you some background information about our project, the property is located at 1039 Sproul Road. It's approximately southeast of the Darby Road, Sproul Road intersection. It's approximately 3 acres and it's zoned R1A low density residential. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the property into 4 lots. Each will be constructed with a single family detached home. As you can see, it will be accessed through a shared access drive, and there'll be some other shared elements such as some managing stormwater facilities and landscaping. Since I know we do have some new members here, I'll give you a little bit of our procedural history on this project. Originally, we were before the Planning Commission last February, where we received some comments regarding stormwater design and some utility designs, and among others. So we went back to the drawing board, and we implemented those comments, and subsequently also attended the zoning hearing board. As you will see, and as our engineer will go through, there are a significant amount of very steep slopes and steep slopes on the property. So it required relief to disturb those steep slopes and also to put some, to have uses in those steep and very steep slopes like utilities and the access drive. So we were granted that zoning hearing board relief in May, and then we revised our plan and resubmitted, and we were before the Planning Commission again last September. We had some additional comments, I'd say more minor than the February ones, but there were some outstanding items. The Planning Commission wanted to review an alternative open space plan, and in addition, have some more information regarding the shoulder widening. At the end of that meeting in September, obviously no recommendation was made on the plan, but we did walk through the recommendations for each waiver that we were requesting, which I'll get to in a minute. But that brings us to tonight, where on our third attempt at the Planning Commission, we would be requesting a recommendation of preliminary final approval on our plan. In terms of the waivers, considering that we had gone through each one at the last meeting, in fact, we're requesting seven waivers altogether. 4 of those 7, the Planning Commission had recommended to approve. 2 of them were in regards to the preliminary final waiver request. Our hope is that the Planning Commission would reconsider at this time, given the fact this is, we've submitted 4 times to the township engineer, so they've had quite a few times to cycle through this and review. And in our view, as from the review letter comment, there are very few comments left, all of which we will comply with. Secondly, the waiver, which is the 4th waiver we're requesting, is regards to the right-of-way width along the property frontage. Since you last saw us, we actually extended the sightline distance a little further, got a little more additional widening in that area, and actually moved the access drive to the left a little bit, so it increases the safety for ingress and egress into our property. And as John will note in more detail, we've, like I said, improved that the site distance and the road widening in front of our property. So that waiver, actually, there wasn't a recommendation made on. You guys wanted to see more information. So our request would be for those 3 waivers to be contemplated tonight and to be recommended for approval. So without further ado, John Anderson can walk through the plan and the review letter, although as I mentioned, we are complying with all comments.
Good evening. My name is John Anderson, as Cam had indicated. Cam did a very nice summary of the project here. Again, it's a 4-lot subdivision. There's an existing house that used to be a single resident. The house used to be here. It's been demolished. It accessed Sproul Road via a driveway, basically in the same location. As Cam had indicated, our access drive is in the same location. It's primarily due to the configuration of Sproul Road and the grade along the frontage of Sproul Road. Sproul Road drops in elevation as it goes in a easterly direction, and the slopes that he had indicated that we sought a variance for are located along the edge of Sproul Road. It gets very steep along this edge of the northern side of Sproul, and this existing area here, these existing trees are to remain. Those are slopes that we're not touching. The red line indicates the sightline distance. We've had the opportunity to meet with PennDOT. We have submitted an HOP. We're in the process of getting that approved. We, as a suggestion by PennDOT to verify the actual traveled speed distance of vehicular movement along Sproul Road in each direction, they suggested a speed study. We conducted that speed study. That speed study indicated that the 85th percentile speed of Sproul Road is 39 miles per hour. That helps us calculate the sight distance requirements. And so we provided a sight distance calculation and to PennDOT. We had a meeting with PennDOT, various members of PennDOT, and they accepted our speed study and they accepted our sight distance. So the sight distance that's shown here, located at the driveway, provides adequate safe stopping sight distance for travelers heading in a northwesterly direction. So as travelers, access Sproul Road, they're traveling north, people at the driveway can see them in an adequate distance to make a judgment call. Also, those vehicles moving forward can see a vehicle, and obviously if that vehicle is pulling out, they have sufficient distance to make a decision, basically a stopping decision. The distance to the plan north, if looking at people heading in a southerly direction, we have the available sight distance for that. That's not an issue. It was really the issue in the easterly direction as you're heading downhill along Sproul Road. So we've met with PennDOT. They've agreed to our speed study analysis. They've agreed to our sight distance calculations, and we're in the process of getting an HOP for this driveway for these 4 homes.
Quick question about sight distance. The sight distance you're proposing is calculated and not based on the tables that they have?
It's calculated. It's based on the 85th percentile speed, and we exceed that by basically 13 feet. So our calculated sight distance is about 300 feet, and we're at 313 on the plan. Some of the changes that we've made since the last time we were here, we have a consistent 20-foot wide driveway that accesses through the entire facility. That was a recommendation or requirement from your fire marshal. So that is actually what we have that we're providing for that entire distance as it comes up to lot 4. This is lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, and lot 4. Lot 4's driveway is just the extension of that. And we're providing a turning movement that shows that a fire truck can access and turn around and safely access the site and basically exit the site as well without any issues or running off the proposed pavement. We've done some slight modifications to the buildings. Lot 2 primarily stayed the same. Lot 1 kind of moved it forward, gave it a little bit larger of a backyard, aligned the driveway just slightly differently. Lot 3 flipped the driveway, and the reason for this is to preserve an existing large tree in this vicinity. And then lot 4, we pulled it forward just to give it a little bit better of a backyard or rear yard. In addition, I'm not sure if we presented this last time, from a stormwater management perspective, we are still utilizing one larger basin down here near the intersection. That's primarily for rate control. controlling the stormwater requirements from the 100-year storm all the way down to the 2-year storm. And then throughout the property, we have had infiltration testing done, and we are proposing water quality rain gardens in various locations around the property to provide our water quality or infiltration component. The overflow for those rain gardens, so the roof runoff is directed towards rain gardens and grassline swales. Any overflow from those rain gardens will be collected. Can you do this without screwing something up? It's not really dark as I'd like it, but this shows the piping network that comes down to the large basin that's down here. You can just start to see some of these rain gardens in the contouring around the site, and that's to collect roof runoff and any runoff from driveways to promote infiltration. The overflow will be directed into our pipe network that will be collected and detained within our underground basin near the entrance, and that will go discharge into the state system. So any runoff, all runoff will be collected from any impervious surface will be collected and detained. We are not subjecting our neighbors to any overflow from the various improvements. Another major change to the plan, we were previously showing our sanitary sewer connection being collected from the buildings, coming down in a central location into Sproul Road, and then an underground pipe heading down in the southeasterly direction all the way down to the creek to be connected to the interceptor that's down by the creek. The applicant is working with the neighbor to the northeast to obtain an easement that allow us to connect into the Darby Road system, and that will eliminate this extensive underground main that would extend down Sproul Road. I know it was some of the comments from the Planning Commission to try and keep it all in one cartway width. So right now, we are in discussions with the neighbor to obtain an easement for that connection, which would eliminate that large main to go down Sproul Road and affect any of the traffic, within Sproul Road. Those are basically the major points for the plan revisions. It's essentially the same, project, 4-lot subdivision, but we've made some significant advances, number one with PennDOT, stormwater, and sanitary sewer collection.
Thank you. Quick question for the stormwater. Please remind us what the shared maintenance and access agreements are for the individual rain gardens and then the shared system at the bottom of the driveway.
So the rain gardens are located on individual lots, but the collection piping does actually go through various lots, and then the underground basin where all this water drains to is split between lots and so forth, but it collects from various impervious surfaces. There will be a homeowners association for this project, and that maintenance and shared maintenance will be indicated in a homeowners agreement and so forth, and that will be delineated. And if we're successful to move forward, then CAM's job is to start preparing that agreement so that it can be presented to the township for review. But it would be part of a shared maintenance for all 4 lots.
And is there an easement that's denoted on the site plans as well that will be recorded with the land development?
For the stormwater management, it would be a blanket easement, just
Okay.
because it's so complicated, throughout the site.
Okay.
And I think in a blanket, type of method, it allows access throughout the facility for cleaning, maintenance, and repairs.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna kick it down to Vic to go ahead and get started.
Would you summarize what we're, like the 3, it's
Yes.
just 3 left now, right?
So the applicant is seeking a recommendation of approval from us for a joint preliminary final land development for this 4-lot subdivision. We do have some outstanding comments from our engineer from his letter dated February 4th. We did have a couple of, now we have new waiver requests. A couple new ones, yeah.
Yes, so there are no new waiver requests. Since we went through each waiver at the September meeting, there was 2 waivers, both are relating to preliminary final land development approval. So those 2 you recommended not approving because you wanted us to revise our plans and come back. So we're requesting that the planning commission reconsider, since we did revise the plans and come back, and the township engineer and staff have reviewed, they're on their 4th review cycle. So we think essentially the equivalent has occurred for the preliminary final. So and we can walk through the review letter comments, but actually we think they're minor in nature, and we will comply with all of the comments in the review letter. So we're hoping that you would consider a preliminary final. So that's 2 of the waivers. Then 1 waiver you did not recommend, you didn't make any recommendation on. That's for the shoulder widening. You wanted us to provide township with additional information on that shoulder widening, which actually we did provide, and we have tonight that John can certainly walk through. Yeah, the other way. So
I saw it was a 3 or 4 foot wide.
right, yeah. So it's actually a partial waiver, since we're providing over 70% of our frontage with that width. But and again, John will certainly touch on this, but just to briefly talk, there's about 26% it's infeasible to really widen because of the very steep slopes that are on our property. Essentially, it's like a cliff along the frontage. So there's larger implications, not only for the property behind that frontage, but also for our neighbor's property. John, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, Kim actually, again, summarized it very well. So in the area of our site distance, available site distance that comes across here, these 2 retaining walls are to allow us to be able to regrade the frontage here to allow for that site distance. And then also this back area here, we're not proposing to touch. As you can see, these contours come down almost directly to the edge of roadway, and there are exposed rock surfaces in that steep slope area. So in order to provide the continuous 4-foot shoulder all the way through this area, we'd be encroaching, excavating and encroaching into an extensive rock face, and also we'd most likely extend onto the neighbor's property as well. But we'd be carving back and then basically encroaching into additional steep slopes along that frontage. Sure. So this is a shot. We're looking downhill, or we're in an east or southeasterly direction. This is the existing driveway that's here. You can start to see, so as you know, we're looking behind me, if you want to think of it that way. Sproul Road starts to flatten out as it gets up towards Darby Road, but as you extend down towards the creek in a southeasterly direction, you start to see the steep slopes that are being developed, and you can see the white line in the edge of pavement. We're advanced further downhill. You can see this area here. And this area here is part of our road widening and our site distance that we're going to be digging out this area to provide our available site distance. Now, I know the weather switched here, but this is the neighbor's driveway downhill of our site, basically plan right. You can see that there's an existing tree mass here. If we were to widen this road to be a consistent 4-foot widening, we'd be hogging out this steep slope area and removing all these existing vegetation for that. So what we're trying to do is match our site distance line with the road widening, and then asking for a partial waiver of not doing that extra 24% of frontage.
Got it. Thank you. That was my main point of clarification. Thank you.
I have a question for the township engineer, if that's okay. They've stated that you've seen I believe 3 or 4 times you've reviewed plans associated with this development. Do you feel you've had adequate time to review?
We have seen it quite a bit, no question about it. And you can tell from our review letter, our comments have decreased every time. So I think they've done an adequate job in addressing everything we've asked them to address.
Okay. And my other question for the applicant is, I know previously when you were here, there was quite a bit of public comment, concerns regarding the property. Just have you done anything to either engage with the neighbors or address those comments that were voiced previously at meetings?
I just go back on a site plan here so I can refer. Keep going. So yes, primarily the conversation was around, I believe, this neighbor here, and I forget his name, I apologize, this neighbor to our plan right, and then the Hessens are here this evening, and I don't want to speak for them, but they are the property owner that we're seeking an easement from to take sanitary sewer out to Darby Road. In association with that easement, if you may remember, there's 3 water services that come through basically the middle point of this property. One serviced the existing property, one serviced the property to the east or to the right, and then another water line extended up to the Hessens property. So in relocating the sewer through their property and seeking an easement from them, we will also be providing them a new water lateral out to Darby Road as part of that. The water line that extends across our frontage to the neighboring property, there will be a slight disruption of service as we're grading in there because we're most likely going to have to lower the water meter, but we would end up granting them an easement for that water service. Just for point of clarity, sorry, maybe I can zoom in here. One more. A big file for the rendering. So the water line, the water main that's along the frontage actually turns in a southerly direction and splits through an easement across Sproul Road. So the folks over here actually don't have a water main that's along their frontage. So you could say, well, why don't provide them with a new water connection? Well, there's not a main that's extending, and that's primarily why the water lines actually came down in this location and kind of teed off and came through the property frontage. So there's only one neighbor here. I don't know if he's for or against, or if you've spoken to him recently, but the concerns he had, we think that we've tried to mitigate any of his concerns. Stormwater is not an issue for him. I think it was more so the trees and the aesthetics of the wall. And our wall is greatly reduced from our original from the original plans. Zoning hearing board did not grant us a 1 wall height, so therefore we had to split that wall. And I think aesthetically that's going to make that wall kind of disappear and be more aesthetically pleasing. The neighbor to the right, we will be working with them on their water lateral. They were very concerned about their location of their house and any stormwater management that's on our property. And I think we've done a good job of but we will make sure that any water that's overflowing doesn't go to their direction. It's going to go into our collection facility. And then the folks to the top of the page, we're obviously working for them, and they're here tonight so they can speak to your question.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. And it's always appreciated when the neighbors' comments and concerns are heard. And I would hope that you guys would continue to engage the neighbors during the construction of the project as well. So thank you.
Yeah, I have some questions about the proposed sanitary sewer system. Explain to me why, instead of having one main going down the side of Lot 1, there are 3 separate laterals in that location.
So what we're proposing now is 4 grinder pumps for each, a single grinder pump located for each dwelling. They will then be pumped to a location to the top of the page, and then a single line out to Darby Road.
All right, so, but in that easement along the, that side of Lot 1, there's 3 separate laterals in that easement.
So we know we're going to have to be working with the sewer authority on this. We're starting discussions with them on the design. There may be a change to that. So what, and our thought process was, instead of one single pump that would be potentially having to be designed as a community pump system. It was better for each individual homeowner to be required to maintain their own grinder pump. And so what comes out of the grinder pump is an 1.25 inch line, and proposing 3 lines up along the Lot 1's western property line. We can look at joining them together and doing a single line, but
I'm not suggesting you have one pump station. You still have individual grinder pumps on each lot, but they would connect to a single line that runs through the easement as opposed to having 3 separate lines. You're building.
we could look at taking so the way it's organized, because Lot 1 starts here, it's Lot 1, 2, 3, and then 4.
Right.
We could look at taking Lot 3, tying it into the one line for Lot 2 as it extends up, and then Lot 1 joins that, and then Lot 4 would join it over here, and then one line out from there. There's many ways that this can be designed, and it's a function of what type of pump manufacturer we select and how they prefer to do that. So right now, we're just showing 3 lines, and we could condense that to 1.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, the first time you were in, you said you were not going to have an HOA, but now you are?
I don't know if we ever said we weren't, but
You were going to have a traditional HOA, is what you said.
I don't recall.
No, okay.
Yeah, I don't recall, but certainly the idea would be to have the shared maintenance one way or another. So we've agreed to that. Each lot will share stormwater facility and the shared access drive.
So within that HOA document, as lines are progressing over through other properties, that could easily be, put into that HOA agreement.
Okay, as far as the main line, if you will, which runs through the neighbor's property, who's responsible for that?
That would be the sanitary line would be responsible of the HOA, and then the water line would be the response. So again, the water line is for the Hessens property and not us. We can connect into the main and Sprawl Road. So the water line, I would think, would be maintenance of that homeowner, and then the sewer line would be the maintenance of the HOA.
All right, so the HOA is responsible for everything from Darby Road back to the site.
Absolutely, yes.
There's no township involvement.
No.
All right. And I also noticed in order to provide water service to the neighbors, there's a short water main extension on Darby Road that's required?
The way I understand the water main in Darby Road, it was extended to this house here, just beyond this house, and so we need a small extension in order to connect directly into it. Typically, water authorities won't allow us to go down the right-of-way and connect in. They want 90-degree connections, and so we are proposing to extend that, yes.
And have you been in touch with Aqua about your water service?
We are working, we're starting the discussions. The application is in with them, yes.
Okay, and they've had no comment? I'm still skeptical about your design, is all I'm saying. It's been my experience that they want a dedicated right-of-way through an area that they can access. And I just have trouble understanding that they would accept what you're proposing. I don't see any details for any of your stormwater management facilities on the plans. Are they on a separate set of drawings, or?
They're in a set of drawings called a PCSM set, Post-Construction Stormwater Management Set, and it was part of the set that was submitted, yes.
Okay, so our township engineer has seen those?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for him, I'm sorry.
Okay. And have you made an application for your MPDS permit?
We've got a pre-application meeting scheduled.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, one other thing, it's a minor thing. I know we asked for a street light at the intersection of the driveway and Squirrel Road. I think given the fact that it's only 12 foot high and it's 15 feet from the edge of the road, I don't know that it's going to do much good in where it's positioned. I just think it needs to be moved closer and maybe be 20 feet high instead of 12 feet high,
Well, At the last planning commission, I don't think we worked out the details. I think we're fine with adding extra height, trying to make it closer. I was just trying to make it more of a residential feel.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about being able to see the driveway at night. That's all.
Thanks, Angelo. Steve?
Hey, I had a question about one of the responses for the fee in lieu of with the open space. There was a separate, alternative open space plan provided. If you pursue that, does that kind of reset the design, or because it seems like that is one kind of standalone plan, but it would be a lot of significant changes to the whole development, right?
I believe the way the ordinance is written, and your planning commission member would be able to speak to this a lot better than I can. The idea is to provide an open space plan that would be compliant, to provide the required open space area associated with a development of this nature. So the way that we could do that with minimal disturbance of steep slopes and so forth was to push the open space up into the back. It's the most desirable space on the property because it's the flattest area. It's not encumbered by steep slopes at all. But the way that the plan is arranged, it would require more relief from the zoning hearing board and also additional waivers to be able to implement that plan. We did try and either keep the same relief that was provided to us from the zoning hearing board or reduce the waivers. And the configuration of the lot and the lot frontage, it just does not allow us to have a lot of flexibility in an open space plan.
Okay, but I guess, so that you're pursuing the fee in lieu of, and then if it goes to this, then it would probably basically be a redesign, or it's a...
This is that would be a
totally
total
separate.
new design.
All right.
So yes, we would be back in front of you. We'd be back in front of the zoning hearing board and also back in front of you guys.
Gotcha.
Steve, we wanted to make sure they could demonstrate that they could provide the open space and still end up with 4 lots, and I think the sketch plan they provided accomplishes that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep, that's all I had.
I don't have any comments.
Okay, thank you.
No comments, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll wrap up with a couple things. So I had a question about the light as well. So the only street lamp that you're proposing is the one down at the bottom of the driveway with sprawl.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that individual homeowners may want an individual light up top, but yes, we're only providing one down below.
Okay.
Didn't seem necessary to illuminate the entire driveway for a 4-lot subdivision, but we would definitely take the comments of the planning commission and provide a more illumination, higher fixture and so forth.
Yeah, so I would defer to Angelo and kind of the recommendation for lighting. If you feel a higher light would be more warranted given the kind of site conditions there.
Or at least some photometrics that indicate what they're proposing is adequate for the...
Yeah.
So
I
typically,
did see is there a lighting plan on here?
no. Very rarely do I do it for residential subdivisions. However, a standard illumination of that area would be about a 2-foot candle. 1.5 to 2 foot candles is typically IES's recommendation for residential. So we can definitely provide a detail on there that gives the spread of that fixture. We'll keep it into, it'll be an LED fixture, but we'll keep it into the temperature range that's more of conducive to residential, which is like a 3,000 Kelvin.
Yeah, and it's full cutoff?
Depends on if we go with a decorative type of fixture.
Okay.
They do make ones that are like an acorn shape that give you the decorative type of look to it. And they do make those so they're shielded and down. You know, we will definitely do a full cutoff fixture. We'll work with the developer. He happens to be an architect, so probably has some specific fixtures he'd like to do. But yes, we'll do a full cutoff fixture.
Okay. Just want to protect our birds and our dark skies where we can. All right, and then I do just kind of have overarching concerns about the number of just maintenance agreements and easements, and there's a lot of kind of contingencies. There's a lot of shared resources here on the site as a whole, primarily resulting from the fact that this is an encumbered site. There's no ifs, ands, ors, or buts about it, right? So while everything seems that you've worked it out, that you have plans to address all of these matters. I just want to express concern that the number of owners involved, the number of crossing wires and lines, and now we're heading into a different property for the sanitary connection is now looping in a fifth property into kind of this shared access easement and maintenance, just complicates matters further. So I do have concerns that if there's a problem down the line, that this could be problematic, it could be confusing. So I just want to caution you very strongly that whatever language you include in all of your maintenance easement agreements, that it's rock solid, that our township engineer take a look at it, and just to make sure that contingencies are covered, everything is fully explained. Cam, I heard you mention that there was going to be landscaping in the HOA documents.
Yes, our intention is to have shared maintenance for landscaping, the shared access drive, and some of the stormwater facilities. And to your point, all the agreements will be reviewed by the solicitor. I'd say they're fairly common for residential subdivisions, but certainly that's why we have multiple rounds of review to make sure that all of those details are ironed out. So certainly we take your comment into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, especially with the landscaping, because I know this hasn't yet been reviewed by the Shade Tree Commission. I understand that you are going to be going to them. I do see that you have the landscape plan here, and just glancing at it, it looks like you're covering your tree replacement calculation. So, generally we defer to the Shade Tree Commission in terms of reviewing and making comments on the various species selection that you've indicated. But I've often seen, residents will move into new homes and they want open space. They don't want the trees, and so they're going to take the trees out. So I just want to make sure that it's very clear, these replacement trees are required as part of the land development. It runs in perpetuity with the property, so that these trees are non-negotiable. They have to stay and be maintained. So I just want to make sure that that's also made clear in the agreement.
And one of the things that's different from the previous submission is that this was prepared by our RLA. This is more of a robust landscaping plan than a generic plan that we provided earlier or previously. And it is specific to native species and so forth. And I'll drag him here with me to the Shade Tree Commission to make sure that we're addressing their concerns.
Great, thank you. All right, and then just wanted to kind of review some of the outstanding comments in the engineer review letter. So we have a comment here regarding the location, names, widths of streets, curbs, and pavement located within 200 feet of the site. This was partially addressed, and I'm just checking, is that in your in your waiver request?
Yes, it is. And as we progress through the sewer authority, if there's additional survey information, so we did actually survey a portion of the Hessens property all the way out to Darby Road, all the way down to Brennan. I think it's Brennan. Just to locate all the facilities in that location in case we needed it. We went up to Darby Road. So if there's additional survey information that we need to get for any of the utilities, it's a will comply, we will need to provide that. But as far as some of the other areas that we are not encroaching into, 500 feet or 200 feet beyond to plan northeast, it doesn't make sense to have a survey, all that stuff. But anything associated with the development, yes. If there's additional survey information that we need to get, we will definitely do it. So it's a partial waiver request.
Partial, okay. So it was partial waiver for that, and then it was partial waiver for the widening with the shoulder. Those are the only two partials, right? Oh, and streetlights. Which one? That's shade trees. Oh yeah, and streetlights.
The streetlights has been eliminated. Our most current waiver request letter dated November.
Okay, all right, so we'll just make a note then. So in the Township Engineer Review Letter from February 4th, it does reference waiver request from Section 160-5.B4F, requiring streetlights for multifamily residential at the discretion of Board of Commissioners. That waiver has been removed.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. And then let's see. So our engineer references site distance protected from future modifications via restrictive covenant that shall be reviewed by the township. Perpetual maintenance, also part of the agreement. Let's see, right of way, PennDOT. I know you said that you've been discussing that with them. We're going to do the fee in lieu of open space. I'm just scrolling through kind of the comments now in the review letter. So number 8, sewage facilities planning module will be required. I'm assuming you don't have a response letter to this letter yet.
Correct.
Yeah,
We
but
haven't
it's-
resubmitted for this review. Sewer planning is in process. And to answer your question, no, I mean, obviously, if we progress forward, we'd be responding to this, addressing all the comments, and so forth.
Believe you said earlier that just about everything is a will comply here.
Everything's will comply.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so BMP maintenance agreement, HOP. All right. We have comments in here about the steep slopes and then the sewage disposal. So that is the one kind of main question that I had as well. So I appreciate that we have the neighbors who would be providing that easement. So my hesitation in proceeding with this is that we currently do not have a documented agreement for that sewer easement. Without that sewer easement, you kind of have to go back to the drawing board and figure out another way to come forward with it. So my concern.
Well, the other way to I'm sorry to interrupt, but the other way to go forward with would be the main extension down to the creek. So that's part of the design. It's not part of the current plan set, but we'd revert back to that design.
Understood, but if we were to grant preliminary final tonight and that agreement doesn't actually get solidified, then we won't have an opportunity to see the revised plan with the redesign of the sewer.
I don't want to speak for our attorney, but I think we would need to come back to you if that plan has changed significantly, and that would be a significant change in my opinion.
Okay,
So if the plans change for an alternative sewer connection, that could be a condition of the planning commission that it would have to come back, resubmit the plans and come back to the planning commission.
okay, I appreciate you making that offer. I don't know if the homeowners are able to speak to this, or if you want to speak to this in terms of, do we feel confident that the agreement will go through? We're still in negotiations. I don't want to put pressure on anyone.
Certainly, we can let the Hessens speak for themselves if you wish. If not, no problem at all. But we are currently in those negotiations, and our intention would be to solidify that prior to final plan approval. In fact, we have a couple drafts back between the two of our parties, and within that agreement, it basically outlines that the easement would be subject to final plan approval and recording of the plan from the township. So basically, it's a condition of that easement.
Is their property on public sewer?
The Hessens property?
Oh, septic system, I'm sorry.
Angelo, when those two lots on Darby Road were developed, there was a 2-inch line that was run up there, and they do have a lateral.
There is a lateral.
Property, yes. Yeah.
So it's there, it's just not, you just don't access it currently. But you would, if this were to go through, you would connect or you'd stay on your septic system. Okay, so this easement really would just be to allow access for this development through the lateral that's on your property. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. All right, that's helpful to clarify. Okay,
You're building a new lateral for these 4 lots, or using their lateral?
We're not using their lateral.
Okay.
We're doing a new connection.
Okay.
Our improvements will not prohibit them from connecting into that lateral should that septic system, or should they desire to tie into public sewer in the future.
okay.
Chuck, does the township own the sewer force main on Darby Road?
Yes.
They do, okay.
And John, one other question. Is it possible to move that main out of the driveway by chance?
We certainly can look at it further. There's an electrical line. It's on the, so the driveway is kind of shifted over into in the flagpole location. The the treat area, I'll call it, there's an electrical line and gas line in that
Yes,
location.
I saw that, yeah.
So we were trying to avoid that, but again, yes, we can work with you on, mapping that out better and getting it out from underneath the driveway if possible.
Concern, and I think I noted this in the letter, is that's the only access to their property.
Right.
So if something happens, they need to dig up that line for any reason, for maintenance or whatever, it's going to be a little bit of a inconvenience for them.
Yeah, it'd be a slight inconvenience. I think what we're looking to do for this to not disrupt their use of their driveway is a directional bore.
Understood.
So there would be, we're trying to minimize the disturbance in that location.
Understood.
Okay, just a couple quick questions. So the proposed homes, shifting to kind of more of the houses themselves, they're all proposed to have decks. Is the intent to construct the decks at the time of home construction, or is that an add-all for the prospective home buyer?
These are placeholders for
Yeah.
the lots.
Yep.
So I think the intent is to work with prospective home buyers on a custom home.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously, they're not going to violate any zoning restrictions as pervious coverage, building coverage, and so forth. It would need to comply. But the homes aren't 100% nailed down as far as the actual design of them.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've tried to budget into the design is an allocation for pervious coverages and so forth. But it's not 100% nailed down.
What is because I see the allowance in the zoning chart here in terms of what's being proposed for each of the lots. But is there additional impervious cover beyond the calculations that you have in here that's included in stormwater calculations?
I believe there is. I don't have them in front of me right now, but I believe we usually allocate a certain percentage increase for that, yes.
Yeah, because anything that we can do, like if future homeowners want to add
And I can
additional
add that
impervious,
I can add a clarification on the site plan for that.
that would be helpful, because I think it would be really helpful for folks to know that the house is this, or the maximum allowable impervious cover on the lot that's already included in the calculations for stormwater is this. So based on whatever the final design of the house is and whatever, specifications the future homeowner has, they know then what their allowable is for future
Yep.
improvements.
I fully understand the comment, and yes, we will provide that on the plan. So
Yeah,
it's
'cause
clear to the zoning officer and the building inspector that's reviewing the plans when they come in.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how helpful that is as somebody who has done that for a living on the review side, to have that information ready to go so that we don't have to negotiate back and forth with homeowners who don't know what that terminology means and don't know where to find that information. So this would be really helpful for future homeowners and for the township permit staff moving forward. You're welcome.
And the township does require individual grading plans for each lot, since these are conceptual. And that plan would also document the design of the individual storm sewer systems for each property, as well as whatever additional purpose
Yeah.
might be allowed in the future.
Yeah, so that would then be really helpful to include also on the individual grading plans for each of the lots when you come in for your permits. And then that'll be part of that property record that can be referenced then by the building code official and zoning officer for reference when reviewing any future permits. Do you have a home builder for these lots? Okay. Yeah, but again, these are conceptual, so depending on who the home builder is and what the footprint is of the models that they build, it could vary slightly. Okay. I think those were my main concerns, questions. You've addressed a lot of them, so thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay. Did anybody else come up with any other comments or questions that they would like to ask of the applicant? Okay. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to make a comment or question? Okay. So seeing none, what we have before us then is an application. The request is for recommended approval for preliminary final land development for these 4 lots at 1039 Sprawl. We did have a robust discussion and a couple of comments and questions and other things that came up in terms of things that we would be looking for certain conditions Should we review those? Does everyone? Let's review. All right, so I realized I don't actually have a pen, so thank you. Thank you. Okay, so on the whole, we have compliance with the township engineer review letter. And as the applicant has said, those are all will complies. Chuck, is there anything in your review letter that we didn't discuss that you'd like to call attention for our understanding or review before we proceed?
I guess the only thing I just want to be clear on is the issue is why you can't extend that sidewalk the full length of the property. You've elaborated on some of it, but I just want to be clear. Is it steep slopes, is it rock, or is it both?
I mean, I think it's all of that, and the potential encroachment into the neighboring property to achieve that. So the slope pretty much comes down to the edge of the asphalt paving there, and there are exposed rock faces there. And so that steepness of the slope to provide the additional road widening, and pushing that slope back up into the site would eliminate all that existing vegetation in that area, and we would also be seeking additional relief from the zoning hearing board for encroaching into the steep slope.
You're telling me that basically you're not going to go in there and it's not stable enough rock to cut it and leave it as a almost a quasi retaining wall, or
I don't have the information to tell you that, and I'm not a geotech, so I don't have that information.
And you would, if you were to extend it, you would have to put in some type of wall or something.
Yes, I believe, yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. Okay, so kind of along with, I know this is articulated in the engineer review letter, but I just want to call this out specifically. So we have a couple of other outside agency reviews that the plan would require additional review and approval, inclusive of PennDOT, the Sewer Authority, and then also Shade Tree Commission. Were there any other external third-party reviews that we're missing? NPDES?
MCCD/MPDS.
Yep. Okay, so NPDES, PennDOT, Sewer Authority, Shade Tree.
Along with Sewer Authority would be the planning module.
And then the planning module as part of the sewer, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is not something that in the land development we review. That's going to just be between them and Aqua. Again, also in the engineer review letter, but wanted to call this out specifically just because of its importance, is just our township solicitor review of all of your agreements and covenants, anything else that you draft in terms of that shared maintenance, access, user, all of those things. And then we'll review again the waivers. So we had previously recommended approval of all of the waivers other than you said the preliminary final land development.
Yes, waivers 1 and 2 regarding preliminary final, and waiver 4 regarding the shoulder widening.
And the shoulder.
Or I should say partial waiver of number 4. As we mentioned, only about 26% of the lot frontage is not being widened.
Okay, and do we need to revisit the partial waiver for the other partial? But we had recommended that previously, but it's being modified to a partial waiver, so I don't know if you need.
Which waiver are you referring to? Sorry.
That was the.
You're referring to waiver number 3 for existing features?
That was, yeah, for the existing features. Was that always a partial waiver?
We're not modifying that. I don't believe we're modifying.
We're still asking for a waiver, but we've now surveyed additional features, for the extension of the sewer line. We're still asking for a partial waiver for not having to survey plan east, plan west, and so forth or areas that are not impacted by our development.
Okay. All right, so we'll just make a note then. So we had previously recommended approval of that waiver. So we'll just note then that if the waiver is being reduced to a partial waiver, then I would imagine that our recommendation for the waiver or partial waiver would stand. Okay, so then we can just revisit those other two. So shall we go ahead and revisit those two waivers before we make the motion? Okay, so we had previously deferred our recommendation on the waiver regarding the shoulder widening. The applicant has indicated that this is a partial waiver request, and this would be for, was this 160-5.B4C, requiring sidewalks for all existing streets? Or this is the road widening? So this would be 160-5.B3J1, requiring a minimum right-of-way width of 60 feet and a 38-foot cartway for major collector streets, right? That's the one we're discussing? Yeah, okay. All right, so we had previously deferred on making a recommendation for that. So would somebody on planning like to make a recommendation then on granting or not of this, or recommending granting of this waiver?
I move that we recommend granting the waiver requested regarding the requiring the minimum right-of-way width of 60 feet and a 38-foot cartway for major collectors' streets.
Okay, and that's for the partial waiver.
Partial waiver, correct.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Would somebody like to second that?
I'll second.
Okay, big seconds. Let's take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so unanimous waiver recommendation for that. And then we had the recommendation for the preliminary final. So again, as in the introduction, the applicant has made the case that they have revisited this plan, revised the plan a couple times to come into compliance with the outstanding review comments. Our engineer has stated that we believe that they're in pretty good shape here. The outstanding comments will comply. Chuck, do you see any concerns if we were to proceed with a recommendation for a preliminary final combined plan?
There's certainly some things that need to be cleaned up a little bit and a little more detail and stuff, but I don't see anything significant that would be a problem.
Thank you. Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion for this waiver request? Angela?
Yeah, we, if we grant preliminary final approval, they're done with the planning commission, okay? We don't have a definite plan for sanitary sewerage, okay? And personally, I have a problem with the water design, but that doesn't matter. So the condition, that waiver would be conditioned upon the fact that the sewer plan that's currently shown on plans be constructed. That if you can't get the easements from the neighbor, and you agreed to this already, I think, that you would come back here and show us what your actual sewer design is. Okay, so that's a backhanded way of saying yes, I guess.
Okay, so it sounds like you would be in favor of the waiver with the condition that should the sewer easement not be granted as shown on the plans, that the applicant would need to come back before us with a revised plan.
Correct.
Okay. Would you like to make that motion? Or would somebody else like to make the motion?
I move what you just said.
Okay, so Angela makes a motion to recommend the waiver for preliminary final with the condition for the sanitary easement. If it's not completed or in agreement, they will come back. Is there a second?
I second that.
Tim seconds. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none? So that waiver then, with that condition, is recommended. So with those, so that should then give you a response for all of your waiver requests. So then, to sum up, The outstanding things then that we have, so we have compliance with the engineer review letter. We've reviewed the waivers, we've reviewed the sanitary. So then the township, so compliance with the engineer review letter, review of all of the agreements and easements with the township solicitor, and then all of our external third-party reviews, including PennDOT, the Sewer Authority, and associated DEP planning module, NPDES and the County Conservation District, and then Shade Tree Commission, which is the Township Shade Tree Commission. Were there any other outstanding comments that Planning Commission members feel need to be addressed? Anyone else? Okay. So with that in mind, would anybody like to make a motion then to recommend approval of the preliminary final with the conditions that we've discussed?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Angela makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Steve seconds the motion. Do we have any other comments or questions? And before we move forward, is there anybody from the audience who would like to make a comment? Okay, hearing none, may I have a vote, please? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you for your work on this. Please work with our township staff on cleaning up kind of the outstanding comments. And best of luck with the continued work on the project.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, closing out our meeting this evening, we have a review of minutes. So we have minutes before us from January 8th, 2026. I hope everyone's had a chance to review those minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from January 8th?
I'll move with that. We approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, Angelo made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Steve seconds. Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none. That's unanimous. We have no one left in the audience anymore. May I hear a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Vic. A second?
Second.
All right, thank you. The time is, I'm sorry. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, time is 8:47. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.